you guys for coming. I'm really excited that you guys are here. And Mark had me give him he's like, give me like the 5-minute spiel that you're going to give, like the hour spiel in 5 minutes. And I just rattled it off and he's like, okay, you need a PowerPoint because I didn't understand those things that you're saying. So Design 101, Find Your Style really is about like creating a home that you love and that has like a story behind it. It's not what you see in a magazine. It's not necessarily what's on Pinterest, because our homes are lived in. They're not perfect, but they can be beautiful. Because I really believe that like good design is good for our mental health. Like a cleaner, better designed house that can be picked up quickly. It gets messy. It's always going to get messy. But if we put thought into it, like it can make us as moms be better moms because we're happier. We love our homes more. Our kids can feel it. It's really more about a feeling. Like you can find that kids will gravitate towards rooms that are finished and clean. Putting thought into those kind of things is important. And I think sometimes we think, oh, it's just stuff. It's just things that we put on the wall, but it's creating a story and it's creating a feeling. And that's what we're going for. What we're going to go over today, these 6 things. First, we're going to talk about getting really intentional and like stopping and thinking before we just go buy things. Because often we will go and purchase things that don't have a purpose, don't have a plan, and then they come home and they sit in the corner, they get put in a closet, we wasted our money on it. When we go to do the project that we thought it was going to be for, it doesn't fit anymore. We're like, why did I even get this? So we're going to get really intentional. Second, we're going to talk about looking at your wardrobe because it can tell you a lot about what your style probably should be, even if it's not what you've done. And then 3, we're going to talk about taking an inventory. 4, having a general idea of the design styles. Now, I think that step is important because you got to kind of know what the genres are, but don't get scared about like sticking into a box because they blend really well together. I was looking at a book recently and it kind of had like these charts under each type of house, and it was like this much farmhouse, this much modern. You know, that's often how it is. It's not like, oh, this is only what you are. There are some that don't blend very well, but most of them blend fairly easy. Bring it all together, make a plan, and then finally we'll talk about going shopping. First of all, getting really intentional. What I would want you to do is if you are having a project or just to get a general idea of your design style before you tackle any project is to create like a Pinterest board that's called My Style. And now you can go pinning away things that are just like, oh, dream home. Oh, I love that. Ooh, that, without much thought, really. Usually that's what we do when we get on Pinterest. But for this one, My Style, My Home, Rasmussen Street, whatever you want to label it, it doesn't matter. But think before you pin. Like, okay, can I really have a white couch in my house right now? It's beautiful. I love it. But probably not because I have 4 little kids right now, and I don't have a sitting room where I don't want them to go, which is where that would fit. So I'm not going to put that in my style board. I might put that in my dream house or whatever, but really intentional, pulling things in when you put it in your My Style board. And then I'm talking like 50, 100 pictures before you really, and it's not even just like one room. It's just in general, like that really appeals to me because you'll start to see trends. You'll start seeing, oh, I see a lot of wood tones. Oh, I see a lot of black and white. I didn't realize I liked that combination of neutrals. Or, oh, I see a lot of bright colors with sparkle and glam. That's probably where you're going to go, you know, which direction you're going to go. So you can love a lot of things. I love when somebody does boho. I love when somebody does a really modern design. But then if I take that step back and I'm being really intentional, I'm like, could I live in it? Could my kids live in it? If you're not going to live in it, you can still love it. But if you can't live in it, then that's not really, if you're going to be creating that real story that's true to yourself, that's not what you should be bringing into your home. Now, if there are things, give yourself permission to love what you love. Like I took a chance on some light rugs when we redid our house because I was willing to commit to that. Like if you're willing to commit to the white couch, just be willing to actually like know that you're going to be every night scrubbing things off of it every night. And if you're willing to do that, then that's fine. But if you're not, then put that on your dream board and move on with your life and not worry about the fact that you can't have that white couch that you see on everybody's Instagram feed. You want to layer in your personality into it. It's not just like, oh, that's pretty. I'm not sure why I like it. But, you know, I lean towards farmhouse because I love the story behind old pieces like this. Like, I just love that this was somebody's, used it on a farm. It's a nut drying rack. Like, I just love the history of that, the patina of that. Like, it's old. I love that. So when I walk in, that resonates with me, but somebody else might see it and be like, that is a piece of junk on your wall. And that's okay, but it doesn't resonate with them, so you don't put it in your home just because somebody said it was going to look cute. That's not going to really fit with you. I was talking with Danae last night. Her mom was like, I grew up on a farm. That's what was in the barn. I don't want that in my house. Because Danae likes farmhouse, but she was trying to convince her mom to like farmhouse too. And she's like, I don't like that. I want more clean lines, more traditional. I want the house to feel like a house and the barn to feel like a barn, you know. Whereas I grew up wanting to live on a farm. And so I'm getting to live that out now, you know. The last thing is that creating your home is a process and not a project. So don't think you're going to snap your fingers and tomorrow your home is going to be exactly what you want it to be, because it takes time. I have rooms that I just haven't even touched yet, and I'm just letting them be until I'm ready to like fully commit, because that's how I work. But it can also be just as simple as a little corner. Like, today I'm just going to like create that corner and make it the way that I love, because that's going to give me the fuel to be like, okay, now maybe I can tackle a room. So start where you're at. If you're not ready for like a full room remodel or a full kitchen remodel, like, that's okay. I redid a little thing next to my stove and got my salt and pepper, and it like clicked and I loved it. And that, you know, it just made me so happy to have that little corner done. And I have a story that I was talking to Mark, because I was like, did you notice this before we remodeled? Do you notice this corner of the kitchen ever? And I had shiplapped, and I had put my bakery sign, and I had like an old chalkboard, and I just loved it. And I'd sit nursing, and I would look at that corner, and it was like exactly me. And it like got me through that like drudgery of like, I'm home all day, I can't leave the house, I'm nursing. Like, the rest of the house could have been a crazy mess, but that corner kind of just was like, that's me. And it was put together. So if it's just even that corner, that can kind of fuel you to be like, okay, I can keep going, you know. So the second step is to look at your wardrobe. So if you really go in and take an inventory of it, you know, look through it, see what you find. Is it like bright colors? Is it muted colors? Is it really form-fitting, or do you kind of like bigger and baggy? Because like, if you like bigger, baggy, you're not really form-fitting, you probably are going to want a big, comfy couch. They kind of start to correlate if you look at it. If you like form-fitting, you're going to want like more probably modern, sleeker design. And that's okay. It's usually reflects. I have a friend, her name's Jennifer, and she wears the most bold, beautiful clothes. Big, giant earrings all the time. Her hair, she's got this big, beautiful, curly, blonde hair. And every time you see her, she's got pink glasses. I'm going to show you her home in a little while. It's sparkle. It's, you know, the sequin pillow. It's the fur. Whereas that's not me. I am very neutral in my decor, and I'm very neutral in what I wear. I like to layer. I always want to have like a vest or a jacket, and that's the same thing as my decor. Like, this color of leather is like, that's the color I bought. Like, I went and looked for my couch to be the same color as my favorite boots and my favorite shoes. You'll kind of tend to gravitate towards the things that you love in your decor as well as your wardrobe. So it just might be kind of fun to look through that and see, oh, I do have a lot of like big floral, bright things. Maybe I need to try and incorporate that into my decor, because maybe that will resonate with me more than what I have going on right now. You kind of want to get like serious with yourself and walk around and be like, what do I hate? Like, what do I really not like? And why do I still have it here? And then what do I really, really love? And why do I love this? Why do I love having green plants everywhere? Well, it's winter and it's, you know, cold, and that kind of makes me feel like spring. I don't know. Whatever it is for you, it's good to have that. So when it comes to decorating, what do you guys feel like holds you back? Money?
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, definitely.
I was like already things I hated. I had nowhere to sit in my living room. No, but
We will talk about that.
yeah. Probably that's the main thing. And then time, just like my sister
Creative.
built her house, and she spent so much time researching all these things, and I thought, just you do that and then let me steal all your ideas.
Yes.
So like, yeah, I would love to hire someone just because I know what I like when I see it. If I need to choose between two things, but I don't feel like I have the time to go research it because there's Netflix and stuff.
Yeah.
So I do that.
So it definitely would have to be that you wanted to commit to that. You wanted, okay, I am going to commit to working on my house instead of, because honestly, I can't tell you the last time I watched TV because I just don't. I'm working on other things. But that's the time in my life. There are times where I'm like binge watching through seasons, but like I just haven't because I've been in a different season right now where I have had time or I've made time to worry about things about my house, you know.
I think for me, I get impatient. Like I want to do a whole room at once, and if I can't do that, then I don't think about it. Like, or, you know, like I don't want to just start with something because I don't know when I'll get back to it.
Yes.
But it kind of ties in with money because I
Yes.
can't do a whole room at once.
Yes.
Well, we will talk about that, but I would say do what you can, but have a plan so that you know in the end when I do get money along the way, this is going to be the end goal. But so right now, like I have a bathroom over there. I tiled. I had the flooring replaced when they did it. It needs to be painted. It needs new countertops, but at least I've like come a ways with it and I love it and it stays clean and nice. And it's my kid's bathroom, but it doesn't look like a kid's bathroom because I don't want it to like be a kid's explosion. But it's not all the way there because I didn't have the budget or the time when I did the tiling to do it all the way. But that's okay. There's a plan there in place and I can start saving for that.
I think for me, it's design ADD. I can go somewhere and go, oh, this is me, I love it. Oh, this is me, I love it. And I guess I do staging for realtors, and I'm used to walking into a house and I take a look at the things I can't change, and then I do the staging based on what's in there that you have to make it look like it's on purpose.
Yes.
You know? And so then I get to my house and I think I really don't want to commit because I'll get tired of it too quickly. Wallpapering, stuff like that, I do it all the time. I love it in your house.
Yes.
And in mine, I think within 3 months, I'd want to rip that off my walls.
Yes.
And so I have a hard time committing to things even when I do love them.
Well, I have a Kay at 14 years old had me wallpapering a dental office. Hey, she was just the best. I would suggest with that is you've got to keep most of your stuff neutral. Like, especially if you do change your mind a lot, don't commit to wallpaper unless it's like peel and stick and in one little corner. I feel the same way. Like if you go in my laundry room, it's got a very bold tile, but I only committed because it's like a 10 by 10 space or smaller than that. And I can throw a rug over it one day and it's a laundry room. I would never put that in my kitchen because I would like, after 3 months, I'd be like, this is just too much visual clutter. Another thing is, it just depends on where you're at. Like for me right now, my kids' toys are all over. So I can't have a ton of stuff on the walls. I look at people on Pinterest. If you're familiar with this girl, Liz Marie Blog, she has the most beautiful antiques. She owns an antique store, so she brings a lot of it home and just has stuff everywhere. But she just has one brand new baby. So I think we're gonna see a change in her style, because if the floor is covered with toys and you have a million things up on the wall, like it just can be overwhelming. I decorate up here sometimes extreme, like what's on the table was up here, because this is kind of my place. I keep it a little bit cleaner. Actually, these are completely full of toys, so they are allowed to play up here. But their playroom is going to be more simple because I don't want it to be overwhelming, the decor and the toys everywhere, if that makes sense. So you got to be intentional about that. If you love something but don't have a place for it, like it's okay to store it for a little while and just see if you miss it. Take things down. Like if a room is just really bugging you, take it down and see if you miss it. If not, that's a good way to like fuel a new project. See if you can sell some things and start a little nest egg for the next project. Because it's okay to change your ideas. I wouldn't be changing them too often because you want to live with it and see if you like it. But so somebody in the class last night, we were talking about different styles between her and her husband, and he really likes like old oil paintings from his grandparents. And she's like, I don't know how to fit them in, because she has one on this wall and one on this wall and one on the stairs and one upstairs. I said, what if you brought them all together and put them in a wall together so that you can enjoy them all together, but it's not like you're walking downstairs and you're like, oh, I hate that painting. And then you're walking in the kitchen and you're like, I hate that painting. And like, not that she really hates it, but that's not her style. And it's everywhere she's going. But if it's all together one place, it creates a, yes, it's kind of like that rip the Band-Aid off. Yeah. But it also like creates like a very intentional collection of those items. Like, we love this stuff and it's here. And then when you get sick of it, they can be put away for a while, or they can be moved somewhere else if that really doesn't work. But it just kind of creates that intention instead of being like, we just hung these on the wall because there was nothing there. If you're really like ambitious doing the KonMari type thing, it is actually helpful to pull out all your decor together, take it all down and put it, and then see like, okay, those red candlesticks do not match anything else. I might have bought them for like Valentine's Day or something, unless I want to put them in a Valentine's Day box. Like, why do I still have those? If it doesn't fit and you don't have a specific purpose for it, you probably just need to get rid of it, because it's always going to be like, oh, I want to use this, but where does it go? It doesn't go with anything else that I have. So let's go through the design styles really quick. Like I said, a lot of them overlap, and I just want to see which ones resonate with you. So the first one is modern, very clean lines, lots of metal, minimal, and it says function and edited. So that's like, if it doesn't serve a purpose and it's not like one piece of art, you often just take it out. So it's not that layered effect that other styles have. And it tends to be very artistic. You know, they're just proving a point with a table instead of a table with a bunch of stuff on it. So it's beautiful, clean, and no frills. Next one is industrial. They kind of go in hand, but this one you start to see, you lose those clean lines and you see like the piping, and they're very inventive in how you build stuff with pipes and things like that. And so you see that kind of creeping in a lot of farmhouse as well. And then the next one is mid-century. So mid-century doesn't tend to mesh well with other things, but you often see these pin legs on things. Funky, functional, again, not too much frills and things. But if you liked this piece of furniture at a store and it's got the pin legs and you're like, I'm not a modern person, you quickly get some chunky legs and put it on there, or paint it, and then you're totally have changed it from mid-century. But you'll see pin legs and pin tables and things that's very common with mid-century modern. Traditional is classic and stately. You'll see like the heavy woods. Often most of us grew up with traditional homes. A lot of shine on the finishes. Now, there's nothing wrong with traditional, and a lot of homes are still traditional. The problem that you might find with traditional is that is what is in stock for contractors, so they often just put it in the house. So it can look a little bit boring because it is a stock item. So you just need to find ways to add character and layering so that there's a story more behind it, rather than just like you pulled this out of a box and every other house on the street is going to look like it. So transitional is often where you see like the meshing of a lot of styles. And this is where like the farmhouse falls in, that Joanna Gaines has made so popular. But it's more casual, lots of layers, lighter colors, painted furniture, matte finishes, like scuffed up finishes. Now Coastal Beachy goes a little bit further in like the really light tones. Now this is not to be confused with just like going and grabbing that beach sign at, you know, right now Michael's has the whole beach theme. So like some, you know, that's not going to create really a beachy theme. That's going to be like a themed room, which is not what we're going for. We're going for that feeling. So it's like light fabrics and really airy, and not a, you know, room to just relax like you would when you're at the beach. Boho is like lots of mismatch, tons of texture, lots of plants, and things don't have to match, you know, different wood tones, lots of different chairs at the same table. Eclectic, whimsical, looks like you picked it all up at a flea market. So that's a really fun style to just like pull it all in. Shabby chic is a little bit softer, feel pastels, lots of distressed, soft lines instead of sharp, lots of pillows. French country leans towards more of like the old world rather than farmhouse, and you see like big armoires, big furniture, lots of worn finishes, lots of marble, curved, dramatic lines. Now, rustic can go a lot of ways. It can look like a log cabin. It can look like a lodge. I put this picture here. This is one of my favorite designers. She took this cabin in California, and it was so dark, and she just made it so light and bright without losing that rustic feel. She kept the wood trim. She kept the big stone fireplace But by incorporating a lot of light colors and really fun metal finishes, she just really, it's kind of funny. She warmed it up by like bringing in lighter colors instead of just going with like really chunky wood beds because it's log cabin. So we got to make it log cabin. She was able to just take what was beautiful and really lighten it up. So this is my friend's house, that Jennifer that I was talking about. And the funny thing about her, so she owned a decorative painting company for like 20 years. And this was a model home that she did like 10 years ago. And she did the like plastering on the walls and the really dark colors. And it was just really dramatic. And then 10 years later, she buys this house and she took all of that out. And that's what her company had come in and they'd been asked to do because that just wasn't her style. So she lightened it all up. Her tile, I don't know if you can really see it. It's just got sparkle in it. She's got a glass backsplash behind her coffee stand. She does bright colors and she just brings her personality into her home and it's really fun. So this is the part where you get to start like putting it into action. We've done the research. We've realized, okay, I have more of a boho vibe, but I don't want to go so far eclectic. I want it to be like a minimal boho. You can decide, we talked about this a little bit already, but you can decide, I'm going to tackle this room or I'm going to tackle this corner. You know where you're at in your life and what you can really handle. So figure that out. I want to tackle this and then go through the process. Probably clean it out first, get rid of a lot of stuff. Probably almost half the stuff, if you're being honest with yourself, you don't really need in that space or doesn't really serve a purpose anymore. And then make your plan. Does the whole house have to match? My opinion is no. I think you got to think about like your bedroom should probably be really your style with consideration of your husband, but that's where you want to really feel at home. And then the main areas of your house should probably be pretty consistent, your living room and kitchen. But then when it comes to like kids' rooms, playrooms, like that's the chance to like have fun and go a little bit off your style and add more color if you don't really like color, or maybe add less color if you like a lot of color and maybe your kids need it to be a little calmer, or you have a room in your house that you just want to like be your really calm room, so it doesn't all have to match, but it does create a flow if you have similar things in the main areas of the house. Now, what is your budget? It's good to get creative with your money. And, is there something that you can sell? That's kind of the obvious answer, but, do you take photographs of people? If you're really wanting to do a project, can you take on a couple clients that need some pictures taken? Can you take on a couple kids that you want to babysit? Like if it's really important to you, there are ways to make that money appear. Now, sometimes we'll get attached to things and if we like, but I spent like $1,000 on this 7 years ago. Well, how much money do you feel like you've gotten out of that? Okay, I feel like we've gotten like $700 out of that $1,000 thing. I'll try and sell it for $300 because I feel like that's what's left in it. Now, don't get attached to that number because you're probably going to sell it for like $100. But, you can be honest with yourself, like, okay, I really got this much use out of it and it's time to let it go. So, where to save and where to splurge. I think on big items, if it's going to be something that you want to last a long time, save up and splurge on it. Now, one example is in my bathroom, I had eyed these Pottery Barn mirrors forever. And I couldn't stop thinking about it. Like if I see something that I like and then immediately the next thing, like I go talk to my kids or get distracted and I never think of it again, great. But if I can't get it out of my mind, when our remodel came up, I had a budget for mirrors that was already set in place. Well, I spent it all on my mirrors for my bathroom and I bought the kids' mirrors for $10 each at Target because I'm like, down the line I can get them a new mirror. But mine are like going to be like bolted to the wall and I want the ones that I want. So I made sure that I put that as a priority and then I just gave the kids a cheaper version of what I wanted. My husband wanted me to make sure we touched on this. So relationships with family, I think are important. We can't just like forget about our husbands and just design everything the way exactly that we want. The way that we've kind of made it work is he has zero interest in helping, really. That's just not his thing. And so if it's important to me, I just make it important to me and I try not to make it important to him. Like I don't ask his opinion on a lot of things. I just tell him, hey, this is what I've planned. This is what I've researched. This is what I've budgeted. And I don't bring it up like the day before I start. I just kind of like, hey, in a couple weeks, I'm going to start this project and it's going to involve this, so that it's not like, hey, we got to go spend our entire Saturday at Lowe's so that you can help me with this project. Because to him, that's like, I had plans. We were going to go do this with the. And so I often do projects when he's out of town. I start them just so that they like the ball is rolling, and he will help me if I ask. Like if I need help, I've told him I'm going to need help at some point in doing this project, and I'd appreciate your help. But I don't expect it, and that's really helped our relationship. He's like, but he admitted, he goes, I love the feeling of our home. Like, I love having people in our home, and I love that we can, like, it can be cleaned up fairly quickly so that we can have people in our home. That's what I love. I love that feeling. But he's like, do I want old suitcases on top of there? I could care less. So finally, shopping. Make sure, we all have our phones now, so that's probably the most practical place. But you've got your Pinterest board. You've got notes from when you're like, I really love this in my house. I really hate this. Will it function in your home? And don't be afraid to return something. This is a really important step. You buy something because you're like, oh, I just love this. You love the way they have it displayed at the store. You take it home. You leave it in your trunk for a couple of days, and then it gets moved into a closet for a couple of days. And then it just doesn't like even quite fit. So my advice would be to, within a day, try and get it up on the wall. Put it in as part of your decor, because then you can timely return it if it's really just not working for you instead of your life. That's where I think family members can sometimes get frustrated, is if we've spent hundreds of dollars on decor that we never put into practice. And it didn't make us happy and it didn't make them happy. That can be a problem. It's okay to buy something that you really, really love on a whim. Like if you know yourself at this point, like, and you find it a good deal, buy it. It's okay to have, we talked about last night, your Monica closet with a couple of things that can be pulled out, when you're like, oh, I just need a couple more things. It's better to go shop your own closet than to run to Target and think that you need the latest thing. Think about if things can transition from one. Now, I know everybody's different in this. I move my decor around all the time. I was working with a client recently, and I said, well, we want to buy things that you can use in other places in your home. She goes, if you put that on my wall, it will be there for 15 years. And so it's just different personalities. So I like to buy things that can transition from room to room, just to make sure that I can always kind of be filling in things. Whereas you might just really have a very specific purpose in what you're buying. So we're going to give it a try. This kitchen, the first question is, what are some easy updates to make this a modern space? Light fixtures are really easy fixes. And especially like even if you're renting, like you can replace light fixtures and then keep the other ones in the garage and then replace them and take them with you if it's something that you really like.
Oh, I just said the cabinets.
The cabinets.
To be white or black or not that brown.
Yeah, and they've got, so if you were going a step further, they're probably decent cabinets. You could get new faces on them, probably remove that trim that makes them like fluted. Just make them straighter lines. Add some really cool hardware. That's a very inexpensive way to update something so that it, it looks different. What would be some more things that like a bigger investment if we were trying to make that modern? Appliances, flooring. Flooring's really hard because it is a huge investment and it's like a big disruption of everything you're doing. So this is one of the things that I find, like, unless that you are like ready to commit to like an entire house reflooring, if you take the time to decorate the rest of the space, the flooring kind of disappears. Put down a cool rug, paint the bring the eye up, and nobody's even going to notice flooring. But right now it's like boring floor, boring cabinets, boring art. Like nobody has anywhere to really focus. So then you start focusing on, I don't really like anything in here when you walk in there every time. Whereas if you like have some things that you really love that you can focus on, you can kind of ignore those things. Because it's not good to just want to change everything all the time. Like we want to be content in our homes. We want to love our homes. We want to be living instead of like always wanting to change something. But you can create that space and then really love it too.
In my house, when I bought it, there was white carpet upstairs and in the dining room, which I don't know why anyone puts carpet. Anyway, it was just nasty. So yeah, we did the floors, and I don't think I realized once I did it, I needed to change everything else in my house to now go with my new floor
domino
theme.
effect.
And man,
the
it
domino
is
effect, yes.
ridiculous because you just do one project and then there's like, oh, I changed that, now I need to change this. Yes, domino effect. And so anyway, And then I feel like by the time I get it all done, I'll go back to the beginning and be like, ready for a change on these floors again? I don't know. It just feels like, once I get it all together, I'll be ready for a change again, but hopefully I won't feel that way. But yeah, the floor,
I think if you can get the core elements to be like what you want and pretty neutral, then you really can not feel bad when you want to like change it up a little bit. Tackling projects in your home, big or small, builds confidence. A thoughtfully decorated and organized home can dramatically improve your quality of life. And I believe that because I've seen it in my own life that when I take care of my home, I'm a better wife and a better mother and a better friend. And when I let my home just kind of take over itself, some of those things go with it. The tide raises all the boats in the harbor. I feel like our homes really have a big impact on that. Thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate it. I hope that you go home with something that you're like, okay, I can, better serve my family in our home. And some of that can be through decorating. Just be intentional about it. That's all I got. Yay. Thank you for watching Design 101, Find Your Style. I can't wait for you to get started making changes in your own home. Make sure to connect with the Ham Homestead on Facebook to share your projects with me. I believe in you and know that you can make a plan to create a beautiful home right where you are.